First year of university done. 3 to go. 3 to go? Oh! I took fewer easy classes this semester, so I'd say I learned a little bit more. So without further delay, let's begin. Math 111, Calculus 2. We basically learned to integrate everything using one of these methods. U substitution, trigonometric substitution, partial fraction decomposition, integration by parts, or trigonometric integration. Real question is, when do you use each formula? Well, there's usually some criteria that tells you what's going on, which one you should use, but every now and then, you'll come across something like this. The integral of secant x. U substitution? Nope. Trig substitution? Nope, it's already a trig function. Partial fraction decomposition? Nope, there's only one term in the denominator. Integration by parts? I mean, we can try... Yeah, that did not work out. Trigonometric integration? No, we only have one term. This is the point where I usually give up and decide to train my psychic powers so that I can mind control the teacher into taking questions like this off the test. Or I just look up the answer online. Oh. So apparently what you're supposed to do in this situation is multiply it by 1. And by 1, they mean secant x plus tan x over secant x plus tan x. What? You might think now it looks a whole lot more difficult to integrate, but if you notice, the numerator is actually the derivative of the denominator, which means that we get the natural log of the denominator after we integrate. What did I just say? For those of you who don't care, we also learned about infinite sequences and whether they are convergent, divergent, or detergent. English 110, prison writing. It's just another English class, which means it's just another class where you gotta hope your particular writing style doesn't trigger the professor into failing you. Oh, also one of the focus points of this class was social justice. I'm gonna say this because it needs to be said. Social justice is the worst. Mostly because there is zero justice involved. People love to talk about issues of race and gender and all these other things. Listen, it's pretty simple. Nobody cares about your race, nobody cares about your gender. I don't care if you're a straight white male or a blue-haired Apache helicopter. Nobody cares, stop expecting people to care. Maybe you should focus on doing something useful, like being a decent human being. Nobody cares. Stop. Move on. Nobody cares. Alright, we're moving on. Creative Technologies 200 AI. Electronic dance music production. Boy, this class was some quality education. Now I can make sick beats and sick jams whenever I want, have a grand old time, much better than last semester's C-Tech class. Of course, as far as making EDM goes, I have no idea what I'm doing.
So is your track like orchestral alternative house, or is it more of a melodic techno?
Yes. I honestly just make music I think sounds nice. No criteria, no genre. And you know, since music taste is pretty subjective, I only tend to show my music to people I know are going to like it. So, what do you think?
It's good.
Computer Science 115, Object-Oriented Design. Code, code, and more code. I can do all sorts of things with code. As part of the class, we made our own text-based adventure game with obstacles, over 50 nodes, items, a high score list. It was crazy. Sadly, my ability to code is still limited to a command prompt, so I can't add graphics to anything yet. But I think it would be kind of fun to make my own text-based adventure game from scratch with the knowledge I've accrued. I could even make like a text-based adventure version of Escape the School. That could be difficult. And finally, Computer Science 201. Oh boy. In this class I learned Boolean Algebra. It's kinda like regular algebra, except the only numbers are 0 and 1. Also, there's no addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Instead, you have and, or, not, NAND, NOR, XOR, and XNOR. Basically, all computers are big machines filled with a whole lot of these gates. And with enough zeros and ones, you can basically do anything. For example, let's say I want to make a circuit that is hooked up to an LED display that will display the numbers 0 to 9 and then roll back to 0 afterwards. I can make that using a sequential circuit design. First, we're going to need 4D flip-flops in order to keep track of what number we're on. Each flip-flop will correspond to a certain bit of the binary numbers from 0 to 9. Now, one LED display is actually made up of 7 little LEDs, each that can either be on or off. So if we want to display, say, the number 2, we have to tell these 5 LEDs to activate. So that gives us 7 output values, each corresponding to one of the pieces that make up the LED display. Each combination of pieces corresponds with the binary number of the number being displayed. Oh boy. So we put all this information in a state table. I actually included all the binary numbers up to 15, even though we don't need all of them. If anything goes wrong and the flip-flop goes above 9, their next state will be 0. So now we can use K-maps to find the Boolean algebraic equations for each state, as well as for each output. Each flip-flop will be attached to a clock pulse. Whenever this pulse is on and off, the counter will increment. The Boolean equations correspond to certain gates, so we hook up the gates, and ta-da! We get this monstrosity. But it works, right? You remember the rabbit from Mario 64, Mips, the one that's really annoying to catch. He was actually named after a certain processor that I also learned to code for in this class. And along with that code comes a lot of dollar signs, oh boy. So that's it. Everything I learned. Was it worth $3,500? No! University's a ripoff. Never go there. Sponsored by Bento Soy Sauce. It's Bento. That's how you know it's good. It's because it's bento. It's bento soy sauce. It's not like other soy sauce. You can taste the difference. It's really good. I swear. Get that bento. Get that bento in your life. Catch these hands, boy. Catch these hands. Come on. Huh? Can't do it. Sponsored by Bee Made. It's made by bees. That's why it's called Bee Made. Sponsored by knives, real life knives. Sometimes they're your only escape. Sponsored by the 10,000 pairs of sunglasses that my dad keeps around our house for no reason. Sponsored by Apple earpods. If they're not broken within a week, you're doing it wrong. Sponsored by black extra large ink cartridges. If you don't pay $20 per drop of ink, you're doing it wrong. Sponsored by gorgeous chapstick. Be gorgeous. And have moist lips. Sponsored by toy guns with the orange tip removed. Don't bring them out in public. Sponsored by digital watches. It still takes me like 3 minutes to figure out an analog clock. Sponsored by Sam Keller. He's dead inside, but not as much as me.